Every noun has a spirit attached to it. It hasn't taken me long to discover this concept because it took my ancestors thousands of years to discover this concept, and I'm just bringing it to you right now. So how do we update that for now, for modern life? Well, we can take it and we can integrate that with what we know. The short answer is blend it on high. Blend it on high with whatever you want. And that's how you update it. You don't take it face value. You don't take it and believe dogmatically. You take it and believe what works for you. If Buddhism doesn't work for you and Christianity does, well, guess what? You're going to be studying Christianity and Christian spirits. It is that simple. Whatever works for you, that's how you blend it. Creativity on your part to notice where paradoxes come up, embrace those paradoxes, and then move forward in a way that is respectful to your own energy and respectful to the people who created all this stuff for you to work out. If every behavior has a spirit, right, like I used to vape, and then I stopped vaping, where did that spirit go? That the spirit sort of evolved into a different spirit. Maybe now it's the spirit of being somatically in tune with my body. Maybe it's the spirit of taking walks throughout the day. That energy is still within me, but it's not leaking, it's not draining anymore. Now it's doing something else that benefits me and lifts me up. Spirits can be changed, laid to rest. Whatever word choice you want to use here is what motivates you best. I use the language of spirits, of psychopomp, of offerings, of ancestors, because it's most beneficial to me. I have a pattern of using things for my own empowerment. I'd like you to take whatever I say and empower yourself with it. And when you have this habit, you will start looking for things to empower yourself in spirits, and you won't be so afraid of spirits anymore. Free will kind of fits in wherever you want, and where I think it fits in is that we do have free will-ish, right? It's not so much complete free will. It's sort of a negotiation with the spirits, with reality, with divinity. And our reality is just a long series of negotiations. Because if we took free will, ramped it up to 100, it's like, why can't I just plop something into my hands from the ether? The other 0% is that absolutely everything is determined. So I like to think it's a blend. It's a paradox. Many paradoxes you will encounter when talking to me. Many cultures treat the world as animated and alive. Popular now to view the world as subjugated under us, as we are masters of the world, is a common conception. Of course, let's do our best to challenge and take care of and be stewards of this world. I would say so many cultures do it because it's the truth, because it's what actually happens. Because when we treat the world as alive, we make the world alive. We invent the gods. The god invents our world. And in doing so, we invent our world. And Animism says, oh hey, let's just get us all together, come up with a common ideology, a common structure to put it all in. And it's, sure, colonization, of course, but let's use it for what it is, which is a good starting point to dive into our own culture. So in things like IFS and parts work, we personify emotions and thoughts like the protector, and those are just psychological frameworks. It's a step removed from animism because it's not religious anymore, it's psychological. Even then, animism is a step removed from culture, so it's like a double colonization. We put it for where it is, right, which is a tool that helps people. If we are introduced to this concept from IFS, not from our own cultures, from IFS, we can work backwards through animism to our own culture, and we'll have a better understanding and tolerance for these sort of beliefs that are ultimately helpful in building resilience. This can also translate into places. The mountain I'm on right now has a spirit attached to it. The land has spirits attached to it. That's from the cultures before us. They have that sort of idea. Mountain is having a spirit personified. We can treat that spirit as if we would a human. We can make offerings to it. We can take care of it, communicate with it. And when we do this sort of thing, so we get to uplift the mountain. If a chair has a spirit, what does that mean? This chair has a spirit, what does that mean? Oh, well, it means that we can interact with it as if it was a human. I can say, thank you, chair, for supporting me, which, sure, that builds gratitude in our own body, right? and builds empathy for things that may not on the surface seem like us, and builds resilience by letting us communicate with things that may not have otherwise been able to be communicated with, like our illnesses, like our destructive forces, like natural forces. I would even go so far as to say that man-made objects have spirits in them. The statue has a spirit in it. And the spirit of craftsmanship, sure, it is crafted. They still have spirits, and you can use those spirits for your needs. The point here with animism isn't so much what is the capital T truth of the world. It's more so, how did our ancestors use this spiritual technology they developed? And how did they use this technology for their benefits? And what sort of benefits did they get from viewing a universe full of spirits? That's a question more worthy of answering for me than what is the truth? What is really going on here? What is really going on here doesn't matter. It can be anything. I'm more interested in how I can help myself and my community grow, and how I can be of service to my community. And if that means believing that there is a universe full of spirits, then I will take that and I will run to the ends of the earth with it. When an object's spirit is neglected or mistreated, damage I do to it is done to me on the inside. If I say, oh, statue, you're so dirty and grimy, ill, get away from me, that's me judging myself in the past. Anytime I was dirty or grimy, that is where I'm judging myself and hurting myself. And you leak energy out that way. We become less effective because we don't have more energy to focus on our tasks, more energy to focus on self-empowerment, and more energy to focus on service. It's better to view spirits as if they have their own autonomy, because that gives ourselves a sense of autonomy and the people around us a sense of autonomy. They exist in relationship with humans insofar as if I'm talking to this, it may answer me in feelings, synchronicities, intuition hits. This relationship I develop with the statue, that's going to be one of mutual reciprocity. It's not transactional. It's not commanding, right? I'm not like, I gave you one prayer, Mother Mary. I need you to give me this. It is not how it works. It's not transactional. This is something much older than that. This is something that's reciprocity, which means nothing exists for its own benefits without giving a positive interaction to others. Everything that is a thing benefits itself, yes, but also benefits others in some way. And it's better to view life that way, as if everything assists everything else. When that idea is reflected back on us, it's an empowering idea that we can be of service and we can be beneficial, we can be good, right? Because the Greek antecedents, the Greek old word for good just means beneficial. And when we view every spirit as being beneficial, as everything as being beneficial, we view ourselves as being beneficial, which empowers us. We don't want to lose and leak our power. And spirits can be tricksters, angry, mischievous, harmful, because we can be, and that's okay. Every color of the rainbow is welcome here, even the weirder ones. If the spirit of Mary is a little silly to me, I'll explain. If I pray to Mother Mary, and Mother Mary gives me some reciprocity in the form of run out of gas on the highway. Thanks for that, Mother Mary. I'm feeling some negative emotions. That's what I need right now, and that's what I'll process. And we turn that to our benefits. We view life as if negative events have our benefits because of its usefulness. That means that nothing negative solely exists in a random, cruel world. Its negative events exist for me to make beneficial moves from, for me to reframe, for me to integrate, for me to gain empowerment from. We have that belief not because it's true, like I keep saying. The truth is uncertainty, randomness, chaos. That is not a helpful belief. That is not an empowering belief. We have to stick to empowering beliefs. If a spirit is angry, mischievous, or harmful, it is doing that for my benefit, to lead me to a better place. Because if that's my belief, I am going to make it true. By my actions, I will look for how it's beneficial. By my actions, I will make any angry, mischievous, harmful actions that a spirit does. Mother Mary wouldn't do that, but other spirits probably would. And how to make those beneficial. If we see spirits in the world, it really shifts our sense of belonging in the world. It's no longer I am alone. It's never I am alone. It's I am here connected with the spirits. I have myself on the spirit of this chair, on the spirit of this floor, on the spirits of this house, with the spirit of this, the spirit of that, with the spirit of that, with the spirit of that. You see, there's so many spirits around me because I choose to believe that way and because it gives me connection. When I believe that spirits animate the world, I am now in connection with the rest of the world. I gain a sense of connection. I gain a sense of certainty. And these needs that are being filled, the certainty, the sense of connection, these are protective. When those needs are filled, you are less likely to be swayed by people trying to sell you something. If people are trying to sell you connection, you'll be like, no thanks, I already have connection. If people are trying to sell you certainty, you're like, no thanks, I have certainty. It's not comprehensive. The more you study and the more you grab empowering beliefs, the more these needs will be filled on your own. And when these needs are filled on your own, you won't have to buy everything. It comes pre-installed, factory settings. You can build good relationships with spirits and objects or spirits of places by talking to them, having any sort of conversation that would be beneficial for two humans, beneficial relationship, human spirit, beneficial relationship. Say kind words, you provide encouragement, not so much praise, you enjoy the process, not so much the end result, you discuss their day, you hold boundaries. No thanks, spirit, I don't need you to show up right now because I'm busy doing something else, we can talk later, which is especially helpful for spirits of guilt or spirits of worry, where you can just put a pause on the emotion for now. I like to do that with the spirit of guilt. It's like, hey, guilt, thanks for showing up. You're kind of at a 10 right now, and if you keep talking to me at a 10, I'm going to go do something else and ignore you until you come back at a 6 or so. And sometimes guilt takes a breath, calms down, and starts speaking to me at a 6, in which case we can work through life together or work through the issue together. And sometimes it doesn't, and I go distract myself until it comes back later. Because guilt always comes back later. And the way I've heard this described is if emotions come to you, it's as if they're knocking on your door and asking for tea. You can say, yes, come in, have some tea. Or you're being really disruptive right now, please take a to-go tea and come back later. When we hold boundaries with spirits, when we hold kind words, encouragement, we build the same kind of relationships we want to see in the world with these spirits. And you're providing a net positive by infusing your life with alignment, right? You are aligned because you treat the spirits the same way you treat humans. And you're practicing that those values, you're practicing your life with these spirits, and then you'll take that practice and use it with humans. If someone disrespects or ignores the spirit of a place, we carry that damage with us when we talk to the next person, when we talk to the next spirit. And it's something we have to heal before we move on to the next spirit. When you name a spirit, you're like, hey, I've just given you a little more importance. I'm going to remember you a little more now. I'm going to talk to you a little more now. Like when you know a person's name. If you're just going through the drive-thru, the person gives you the food and you give them the money. It's very transactional. You don't need to know them. You can still have a positive relationship. You can still be like, thank you for this. And they can still be like, I hope you have a nice day. And it can still be a positive interaction. But it's a little different than going to your favorite place, your favorite restaurant, and them knowing your name, and you knowing their name, and them knowing a little more about you, and you knowing a little more about them. And that's also different than you maybe going to a friend's house and bringing a little gift to your friend, and your friend making food for you. It's just different levels of relationship, Those levels of relationships that exist in the real world exist in the spirit world. Our energy and emotions impact the objects and the spirits around us. Whatever emotions we have towards a spirit get reflected and amplified and pushed out into the world. I like to have that worldview because it lets me view my actions as beneficial and it gives me more power. If I feel more energetic and more magnetic and more commanding and all my fun emotions, if I feel those things and if I interact with the world in those things and I feel joyful and ecstatic, it helps me feel that way more often if I think that those emotions are having a better change in the world, a better move in the world. If I can pretend, whenever I say thanks to Mary for making an appearance on this video, that thanks goes through her back to me, and I carry that positive emotion to a partner, to somebody I see later. When I do that, it gives more of those positive emotions in the world. And let's take it a step smaller. Not just more positive emotion in the world, more positive emotion in my world, from something as simple as thanking Mary. And when I do that, I have a more uplifting life, a more energetic life, a more effective life with more power and more personal empowerment and more growth, which are all things that I value and that I aim for. So not only does the world have spirits, our inner world has spirits. We talked a little bit about emotions, but yes, there are ancestor spirits that live inside of you. There are thoughts that live inside of you, maybe dysfunctional patterns that live inside of you. Maybe if you overeat or vape, right? I used to vape. I think there was a spirit attached to that. Because I thought there was a spirit attached to that and worked with it as if it was a spirit, I was able to modify my behavior and stop and change it to something else. And I've been able to do that with other behaviors I don't like. Every behavior has a spirit attached to it. Every pattern has a spirit attached to it. And when we believe that, we can work with those patterns and behaviors as if we're working with a person. Befriending a difficult part of ourselves is sort of like making peace with a spirit. If a spirit is angry, we would make peace with that spirit the same way we would a part of ourselves that's maybe a little more prickly. Maybe our anger is a little more prickly. Maybe our trauma is a little more prickly. We can make peace with that spirit through offerings, through conversations, through seeking to understand and empathize with curiosity. So sometimes people feel haunted by emotions. This haunting I like to view as spirits. I've been haunted by my past. Some people have said, I've said, it does turn out to be spirits. And we can work with that as spirits. And when we have that belief that I am haunted by a spirit, and it's not just chemicals flying around, maybe we don't medicate ourselves into oblivion, and maybe we work with it as if it was a spirit. And maybe if we do both, we're at our most effective, because we're not denying the effectiveness of a technology that is evidentiary, right? Studies have been made, but also a technology that has been tested by time, that has been created by ancestors over thousands of years. It's never so much does it is what is the benefit to doing this? And sure, that might be a different paradigm, a different way that people come at topics sort of like this. I would urge us to all examine our beliefs in a way that makes us discard this search for certainty in an uncertain world, because we'll never know the real answers, the capital R real answers. We'll never know what's really going on under the surface, what the real force is animating us, what waits for us at the end of time, what waits for us at the end of our lives. We'll never know. Completely uncertain. So, with that in mind, let us embrace that uncertainty and let us embrace this life where we can look at things and they make us more effective and better at assisting our community. And that's what I'll do, and I urge you to do the same.